Clone Questions Live, episode 10, with me, Paul, your clone coach. Welcome, welcome. First time wearing a hat, but repping BioSafe. Shout out to BioSafe. Happy Friday, everybody. Here we are once again. Fridays, every Friday, 5:30 p.m. Pacific. We got a time change, so there's still light out, so it's a little brighter this time around. But welcome to everybody. Welcome, welcome. If you're watching this on YouTube as a rerun, you got to hop over to my Instagram to watch the live and join the chat. Once again, every Friday, 5:30 p.m. we do Clone Questions Live. This is our 10th episode, you guys. 10 episodes. 10 weeks into it. I love it. And once again, every week we do a giveaway as well, right? We do let me adjust this a little bit. We do a giveaway. So we guess a random number between 1 and 420, and whoever wins a copy of the Best Mother Plants Ever, SOP. Let me adjust that camera. There it is. And if you guys are just joining us, joining me, let us know where you're joining in from in the chat. It's always fun to see where people are joining in from. We got, from Australia to Thailand to Guam to Canada to all over the United States. So it's always fun to see where the rest of your team members are, in the world, in the country, so on and so forth. So if you're just joining or you're in the chat here, let us know where you're joining in from. And if you have something to burn with your coach, it's time to light up. Trying to get close to the mic here. Get a little sound bit there. Oh, DHS, huh? Coachillin? What's up, Isaiah 760? You're in my backyard, man. Or woman, whoever you are. You're in my backyard. But we got the UK, Argentina, Long Beach, New York City, Modesto. We should all get to know Grow Michigan from Michigan here almost every week, it seems like. I appreciate your support. Appreciate you showing up. But if you have any questions, let me know in the chat. There's also a couple bullet points that I want to touch on this episode. We're going to touch on re-veg. We're going to touch on the daily production per person. Did a reel on that one this past week as well. Water on the bottom of the trays, which is a reel that I just posted as well. We're going to hit on small nursery business. I got another question about that. And it's been something that's been at the top of my kind of to-do list. I really want to do a third piece of my SOPs, and that'd be like the business end of it. Just to show you what's possible with a small room as far as making a small business out of it and creating some good revenue. And, we're going into tough times in the economy right now where people are losing their jobs or, people are trying to keep up with inflation, and having more than one income source is always going to be a really good thing for you. So, why not make a little nursery business? If you really had all the tools and the know-how to make the best moms, the best clones, maximize your efficiency and get the most out of your space, you could turn 1 or 2 lights or, a spare bedroom into a nice little small nursery business. Check all the legalities on your end. I'm not, this is just my experience, my opinion. But you could, replace a salary out of a spare bedroom. And with times getting tough, the inflation kicking in and stuff, like, I want to add that third piece of the SOPs, which is the more economics and the business end of it. So we'll touch on that today. Just a nice little overview. And we'll also hit on wash, rinse, sanitize as well. But if you guys are just joining, you'll see where people are joining in from. We got Ohio, we got South Dakota. For this episode of Clone Questions Live. And before we get into the questions, another little plug for Clone Coach as well is to I get a lot of DMs, a lot of questions, a lot of like, hey, check this out. Hey, what should I do? Hey. And I really, really do my best to respond to everybody. Um, and I always refer them to usually, to grab my SOPs at the end of that conversation. It's really the best way to cover the majority of what you're asking me, anyways. But it's not in everybody's budget. So if you really want to continue to support Clone Coach, and that's out of your budget, the SOPs are out of your budget right now. I get it, I understand. But check out Clone Coach on Patreon. I set up a quick Patreon with 2 tiers, $5 a month as a thank you. If I've provided you more than $5 worth of value, which it's pretty easy to calculate that and get that kind of value with the content that I've put out there, then check out the Patreon. Support with $5 a month. Maybe you can't get the SOPs, but I provided value enough for you to participate with $5 a month to keep supporting Clone Coach, so I could keep giving out all of this info for free. And the second tier is a $20 a month tier, which is going to include a private community, so that all of your questions that are being asked will be answered publicly and in depth, and the community itself could help participate and aiding in answering the questions. So it's really like building a true tribe of us in a clone community, just helping each other make the best clones ever. So if you want to support Clone Coach, check out Clone Coach on Patreon as well. Let's see here. Touchdown Tito says, hardening off for outdoors. I have been trying warmer rock wool, but want to hear your input. Well, it depends what your outdoors is like, what we really got to prep for. But let's assume it's beautiful outdoors, right? It's springtime and plants and other crops grow really well, wherever you are outdoors. Let's assume that. If you want to harden off your clones, I would say transplant them to at least like a half-gallon pot, or into some sort of small container, and intensify the lighting either with ceramic metal highlights, which is what I would prefer because you have some UV in there as well. So basically expose them to more intense lighting, some more UV, so that you harden them off that way, and try to acclimate the room to what it is outside as well, so there's not a big temperature or humidity shock. So it's that middle stage, more intense light, adjusted the environmentals to match, and a week or so, maybe 2 weeks there should be your acclimation. If you're trying to warm your rock wool, like with like a heat mat or something, I guess, and if it's really hot outside for you and it's really cold inside, but I don't see that being the case. But let's try to match it up and bridge the gap there. We got Chicago. Let's see here, and don't forget, guys, pick a number. Let me put that in the comments here. Pick a number between 1 and 420 for your chance to win. All right, let me put that there. Let me scroll through the chat here, see where I left off. If you guys are just joining too, let us know where you're joining in from. See, CaliBud562 says, I've had a nursery with a garage in Cali for 10 years. That's awesome. That's awesome. Extra large pepperoni says, Clone Coach is for the people. Thank you. And I am. Cali Bud says, I'm putting out better cuts than 90% of guys out here. Let me touch on that real quick. For a long time, it was really easy to do better than the competition, because for a long time, what people accepted for clones was such a low level. There was like, you accepted major loss after receiving an order, or poor root zone, or stunted growth, yellowing, like taking a week or two to bounce back out of anything, all this stuff. So, it reinforced me being on my journey to make the best clones ever, because what you saw out there was crap. And if you're able to, be consistent and stay, on top of your quality, that's where you get the good reactions from people. I remember delivering trays, and every time with every stop, since I open the box and pull the tray out, just wow, dude, everybody just wow, look at it, just everybody just wow, look at these clones, wow, pull them up, that kind of reaction is what I was getting throughout my years. So, I hear you, man, but for a while, people accepted poor clones, unfortunately, and that sucks. But nowadays, it's people are up in their game, and they have to, they should, and if they're part of the Clone Coach team, they're killing it. Wild Bill Cody says, Clone Coach always got a fat cone. Hell yeah. Yep. I actually got like a little joint tattoo. It's a little faded because it's on my finger, but it's a joint tattoo on my finger there. Grow Michigan says, is a Patreon link in the bio? Yes, it is. The link in my profile. Check it out. Scroll to the bottom. You'll see the Patreon link there. Let's see here. All right, let's touch on the re-veg. So, a lot of people have asked me, how late into flower can you re-veg? Or I'm in a situation where I got to save this genetic and it's late into flower. How would you suggest cloning this plant and re-vegging it and stuff? And I've tried taking clones from flowering plants, and it's just a little bit tougher. And guiding someone through that process is a little bit tougher. Obviously, right, for obvious reasons. So my best suggestion when somebody wants to keep a genetic or clone a flowering plant is to just re-veg that plant. So you have a flowering plant, you could harvest the tops and leave like the middle and bottom section of growth behind and put that straight into a vegetative state. So with the root zone, you would flush out your media and reintroduce vegetative newts. You would obviously change the light cycle to get as much light as possible, and keep it in that environment to really force out that vegetative growth. And with enough patience, surely enough, you'll get vegetative growth coming out of that plant. So when that starts to happen, you just want to ensure that you have enough solid, even, consistent, normal looking vegetative growth, and that's what I'll recommend you clone from. So get some stems going, let them veg out till they're nice and proper, and then take your clones from that, leaving behind some nodes just in case you still have the genetic while you're rooting. You root those, and that's your mom stock to populate and keep that genetic alive. So if you're thinking about re-vegging, or you're thinking about cloning a flowering plant, just re-veg it. Just re-veg the plant. That's my opinion. I think that's going to be your best bet. Let me scroll down here, try to keep up with the chat. Grow Michigan, what were you drinking 2 weeks ago in the live? I don't know. 2 weeks ago? I don't know. I don't know. I don't remember that one. But today I'm drinking some apple juice with some bubbly water, because it's kind of like a apple cider or something, I guess, huh? Let's see if I got any more questions here in the chat. If you guys are just joining, let us know where you're joining in from. Let me go through the chat here. Depression Days says, I'm about to do that with a lady. Day 30 and didn't get cuts off. Cherry crescendo, damn it. Yeah, and if you're only on day 30 and you want to just sacrifice that plant and not wait to harvest, some colas off of it, just flip it into veg right now and take it out of flower and put it right into veg. Just get an earlier start on it. Let's see here. You had us guessing on that drink. Yeah, I don't remember what it was, man. Uh, Real Talk French Bulls says, what size pot do you recommend for long-term moms? It's a good question. Um, Minimum 3 gallons, average of 5 gallons, 7 gallons and above. Only if you're like greenhouse status or like, yeah, probably just greenhouse status. Um, so anywhere between 3 and 7. But the more critical thing, in my opinion, if you're keeping mother plants for a long time, is to have the pot be either fabric or something with an air pruning ability. So you want those roots to be air pruned, um, because in my opinion, I think there's a synergy, there's a balance between what you're pruning off of the foliage on a normal basis. Kind of needs to happen on the in the root zone as well. So if the roots are being air pruned, they're never really feeling constrained and starting to twirl or anything like that. So they're kind of getting pruned as well, just as the foliage is getting pruned. Um, Maybe it's a little far fetched, but that's kind of where my head is. So if I'm keeping moms for a long time, I want either fabric or air pruning pots between 3 and 7 gallons, usually landing between 3 and 5 gallons. Good question there. We said we got Indiana as well. Depression days was my next question. Fabric, yep, yep. Fabric is always good. Um, Water on the bottom of trays. So people were, I made a reel about that. People have asked me that for a while, and it's really boils down to using it as a benefit to extend your roots visibly, um, but not really anytime prior than that. So in the reel that I just posted, I recommend that you only put water on the bottom of your trays when you already have a root zone established on your trays. Um, Excuse me. Root zone established on the bottom of your trays. So that little gap that's between the bottom of the cell tray, your clone media, and your solid tray, that little half-inch gap, if you have a little thin layer of solution, creates enough moisture where those roots bridge that gap and start growing in that nutrient solution. Um, and that's how you get really long spaghetti noodle roots on your plugs, and in a fairly short amount of time. If you just start doing that, wherever there's moisture in solution, those roots are going to go and going to grow into. So ensure that solution gets changed daily, so it's fresh, oxygenated nutrient solution, and 300 to 500 mils, just to really um, kind of match that little level of like the divots in the trays. That should be enough for you. But that's how you really get super long roots on the bottom of your trays. How many people out there watching right now are part of the Clone Coach team? Being that you grab the mini SOP or the Best Clones Ever SOP or the Best Mother Plants SOP, or you won a free copy. Who out there right now, let us know in the chat, who out there right now is part of the Clone Coach team and who's not? Who's not part of the Clone Coach team? And on both ends, let me hear why or what your thoughts are. So if you're part of the team, let me know your thoughts. If you're not, let me know why you're not. What were you thinking? Let's see here. Officer Perp says, is there a reason why there would be mutations in clones and plants, like multiple nodes and cuts coming off a mother plant? I mean, mutations and kind of disfigured growth can be triggered by a lot of different stressors. So, if you're talking about mother plants and clones, is it starting with the mother plants? Are the mother plants good? Are the mutations only happening during the rooting process? Where is it happening and why is it happening? I mean, if there's mutations like that, if it's really just poor genetics, hey, and you got everything else on point, then it's just poor genetics. or it could really be, you know, diseases, or, you know, some really off pH, or some, you know, solution that shouldn't have been fed to plants, got fed to a plant. Shit happens when you know, people are involved. So um, there really should, you know, be no issue on no mutations if it's just being cloned from that plant. There's really nothing that should trigger that kind of mutation. Let's see here. Input, B Chicano 420 says input on heat mat under clone dome. Heat mats, if you're in a cold climate, East Coast, the North, you know, I'm in a very, very warm climate. I'm in the Southwest desert area. So uh, I don't have this kind of issue. I could, you know, get the right root zone temperature just by my room being 80 or 82 degrees. But if you can't achieve that, or you're in a cold basement, or you're on the ground, or you have, you know, cold environment, cold wall, exterior wall or something, then yeah, I would bust out the heat mats. Just to kind of break that chill, because a cold root zone is going to be a slow growing root zone. So if you don't have that warmth there, you're really going to slow things down. And that has a trickle effect, right? You slow down the dry back on the cubes, you slow down the root zone growth. So you don't have any dry back, you have excess humidity. When you have excess humidity with cold temperatures, you're going to have pathogen pressure. So it becomes an issue for sure. So my input would be, if you're in a cold climate, bust them out. Let's hear who here is part of the Clunk Coach team. Let me know in the comments. Let me know in the chat. Let me know where you're from, where you're joining in from as well. Let's see here. Man for Them says, after roots develop, I sometimes need to leave them in trays due to space limitations. Been there. I think a lot of us have been there. Let's see here. I often fall short of watering twice a day and lose a few rooted plants. Any suggestions? Leave water in the bottom of the trays. That's what I would suggest. 100%. You know, if you can't, you know, assuming you're not going to implement an automated watering system, you just can't get to that second watering. So when you come back the next day, you start to lose some, and you water right away, but some dried out. My solution is to leave water in the bottom of the trays, because you have fully rooted clones, and they need to maintain moisture, and they'll have a lot quicker dry back, sometimes obviously faster than 24 hours. So leave 300 to 500 mils of nutrient solution on the bottom of the trays, and your clones will wick that up. Your roots will grow into it and wick up that moisture to help you buy that extra time. And you may eliminate that second watering throughout just by leaving water in the bottom of your trays for the remainder of the day. And the following day, you're draining that out, putting fresh water, watering the clones, and leaving fresh water behind on the trays again. So that might be the trick for you. Let me know if that helps. Man for Them. Let's see. MGA Done It says, do you use a heat pad for your domes? I just literally touched on that right now. I personally don't, because I live in the Southwest and it's nice and warm. Have no issues with any kind of cold temperatures, and wouldn't want to live anywhere where there's a lot of cold temperatures as well. But if you're in a cold environment, cold temperatures, a cold basement, snowy environment, things like that, yeah, bust out the heat pad for your domes. Sir Tops a Lot says, fish shit in clone dome. I assume that product that you're talking about, you know, but I don't know exactly what it's used for. It's probably in the realm of like compost or inoculant, or like a kelp type of product. I assume it's in that realm. So would it hurt to add it to your mix? Probably not. You know, I haven't used it personally, so I wouldn't know. Beachicana says, I'm not, just started watching you. Not part of the Clone Coach team, But I'm glad you're supporting. I'm glad you're joining. I'm glad you're asking questions. There's a lot of content. A lot of people don't, because we're human, man. But a lot of people don't scroll back on my videos to really, dive through a lot of them and dive through some of the comments and stuff, because there's a lot of good information there. But at the end of the day, if you're ready to go, if you're ready to make the best clones ever, if you have a nursery, you're already making clones week after week or batch after batch, I highly recommend you check out clonecoach.com. Grab the best clones ever SOP. If you have mother stock there, you got to keep going, which you probably do. And it really all starts with the mother plants anyways. Also grab the best mother plants ever SOP on clonecoach.com. Check them out. You can use discount code 15K for $50 off your entire order there. Let's see here. The Gut says recommended EC for freshly planted clones. Also recommended EC for mother plants. The recommended EC for freshly planted clones is going to be the same EC as your mother plants. So if you don't know what that is, it's a range, right? Between 2.0 EC and 3.0 EC. Call it 2.5. But what that's made out of and what factors that are going to determine an increase in EC are going to be things like LED lights or high intensity LED lights, RO water, cocoa, things like that. But call it 2.5. Nice spot right down the middle. Sir grows more buds as I do get down with the Clunk Coach team. Nice team members. Mike Verrat says just started following. Well, welcome, Mike. Welcome. Got a lot of good stuff for you here. If you guys are just joining the Clunk Coach team and kind of just watching and kind of just getting exposed, there's a lot of good video on this Instagram page. My YouTube channel, I post the full length videos of the lives, the Clone Questions live. I got some on my stories as well. My saved stories there. But really, you should go to clonecoach.com and subscribe to the mailer. You'll get a free mini guide for subscribing, and you'll get some more information, so a list of all the podcasts that I've been on, been a guest on. So there's hours of podcasts that I've told my story, people have some questions, some really fun shows on there. And some YouTube video access and things like that to really give you a solid base on, getting to know, me, Paul, the Clone Coach. So head over to clonecoach.com and subscribe to the email list. You'll get a free mini guide and a lot more. Let's see here. Grow Michigan says, I'm not a part of the team yet, but I'm going to grab the Patreon, see how that is, and potentially buy the SOPs. So thank you. That's amazing. Just note that I just started that Patreon, so it's there's not a lot of content there, but I am going to be posting or uploading coaching calls as well. That I've had one-on-one coaching calls. I'm going to upload those full-length videos on there as well for you guys to dive into for the $20 a month access. And the other half of that, like I said, is a community aspect of it. So you just got to, put the questions out there, and we start the chat and we start figuring out if you have any issues, you have any questions, anything like that, put it there, and you get that direct chat, and everybody else that joins that tier will have access to that really in-depth, one-on-one kind of questions or things that come up. People are really in it. You get a little bit more in depth, and you get to come back to it at any time. So thank you, though. Thank you for the support there. Sir Grow More Buds says it's 68 degrees in my room and my clones are looking great. Very interesting. Because 68 degrees is cold in terms of propagation in general. It's not warm. It's not the coldest things could be. But, for propagation, you always want to desire, a little bit more warmth, just generally speaking. So if they're quote unquote doing great at 68 degrees, imagine what they'll do at 78 degrees. And you gain speed as well. You gain speed of rooting. There's Not going to be, there's going to be night and day comparison from something in its mid 60s to high 70s in temperature as far as a rooting speed goes. I really think, I'd put my money on that. See, we got Sacramento. Where else is everybody from here? If you're just joining, let us know where you're joining in from. See, Sir Growmore Bud says, I've been having great success cloning with worm castings and perlite as a medium. Nice. Let's see here. DHemp19 says, how long after plugging do you open your dome vents? Simple answer. Right away. I don't close them at all. Ever. Never 100% closed. Little tidbits like that are just, tried and true for me that I'm, kind of just, like to say. I should probably throw in a t-shirt, right? Would you guys buy some merch? Clunk Coach merch? I'm not serious about it. I'm not launching a t-shirt line. I'm not a designer and, that whole thing. I want to provide a lot more value first before I'm trying to just sell you a t-shirt, I want to provide SOPs and ways to think about, making a little nursery business as a side hustle or getting the most out of your nursery operation at work or for your business, for your clients, what have you. That's where the value is right now. So don't worry about it. There's not a clone coach t-shirt line coming out anytime soon. David Zontak says, any input on using hypo versus running some bennies and clone plugs? Yeah, I got some input. Oh man, I run bennies, man. For me, it just works. I don't like to run things sterile. I'd rather have the biology of the root zone and the live microbes and that synergy happening at all times in a root zone, because you can't beat nature in that sense for me. And I want that activity to transfer on throughout the rest of its life, the plant's life. So I start that from the very beginning. Terp surfers, how many days before you open vents? Just answered that. Never close them, so they're always open. Let's see here. What's your Sir Tops a lot? What's your go-to mix for new cuttings? I hit on that on my SOPs, my best clones ever SOPs. But for it's basically, it has to. Oops, had a phone call coming in. Is it back? Am I back? There we go. What's your go-to mix for new cuttings? Whatever I'm feeding my mother plants. That's where I'm going to start. That's where I'm going to be looking. I'm not going to try to recreate anything new or anything too different. I want to keep a similar recipe as my vegetative plants. Manfordem says, do thin stems root the same as thick stems? It's a good question. I'm thinking back, and I've had thin-stemmed clones have just as a robust root system as a thick-stemmed clone. They both could do very well. I've never put them side by side to say which one's doing better, and also never really made it a habit of taking thin-stemmed clones. So I never had too many thin-stemmed clones. Usually secondary clones, in the mother plant are thin-stemmed, but like long enough to plug as well. But they usually could root at the same rate. So there shouldn't be too much difference. If I had to pick one, I'm going to go with thick-stemmed, because probably at the top there's more growth happening within that stem. So I would say thick, but your thin stem stuff should still bust out roots without a problem. But if you guys are just joining, we got some people joining in from New York, Edmond, Oklahoma, Vancouver, beautiful place, Adelanto. Not so beautiful place. Little comparison there. Let's see here. Purple Mountain Wellness says, how many days before your first watering after you plug? If you want the exact watering protocol for the 14 days, check out the SOP. But as a general rule, it's going to be at least a week. It's going to be at least a week. So it's going to be in the single digit days. That's when you're going to get its first watering after plug. Even with rock wool. Some people are like, oh, rock wool, it doesn't dry back for 10, 11, 12 days. But then you'll see their experiences. They're going to get roots on the top of their cube or the stem right above the cube, and they won't have a full root zone in their cube. And they'll be like, why is that happening? Because the roots are only going to go where there's moisture. So if the environment with the humidity with the domes is better above the cubes because the cubes are too dry, that's where the roots are gonna hang out. So, but yeah, about single digit days after. Let's see here. Dank Panda says, "Happy St. Fatty's Day. Stay lifted." Likewise. But if you're just joining, let us know where you're joining it from. If you have any questions, we hit on some re-veg topics. We hit on leaving water in the bottom of the trays once they're fully rooted. We hit on who here is part of the Clunk Coach team, whether you've joined or not, whether you've grabbed the SOPs or not, and if it's a little bit out of your budget, or you're not so sure yet, absorb all of the free content I have on my Instagram page, my YouTube channel, and if you go to clunkcoach.com on the About section, you'll see a list of all of the podcasts that I've been a guest on as well. So I'm really trying to put out a lot of good stuff for you guys to consume, to get to know me, build that trust, and know that if you grab the SOPs, you're going to get results and you're going to get success. I'm not here for short-term thinking. I'm here to get people results, and you could join hundreds of others all over the world that are getting results today. clunkcoach.com. Let's see here. Now that commercial's over. But on that note, let's talk a little bit about the business of content creation. What do you guys think? Whoever's here, do you want to hear a little bit about the content creation business? Because you're either going to be promoting other people's brands, or you're going to promote your own brand, and or that additional level is products or additional products or brands that you own as well. So, I got to push what my own brand is and what my own products are, my digital products, because the other option is, supporting other brands, and there are brands that I want to support and I want to work with. But it's that kind of fork in the road, right? Where, you're either building up somebody else's brand or you're ideally building up yours. So and a healthy mix of both is ideal, I think. If you could have both, a little bit of both, the best of both worlds, why wouldn't you? But that's kind of the reality of it, So that's why I promote, clunkcoach.com, promote a lot of the free content before anything else. And now got the Patreon that I just set up, so people that don't have the budget right now or have gone through a lot of DMs with me, because I'll go back and forth on DMs. So some people have gotten lengthy conversations without grabbing the SOP or without any kind of support in that sense. So the Patreon's there. It's only $5 a month. If I've given you that much value, then that should be the reason why you support. Or go the $20 a month route, and we'll have a private little community, kind of like a little mastermind community group. And I'm going to upload all of the one-on-one coaching calls that I haven't listed anywhere else, the full-length one-on-one coaching calls for you to dive through and see other people's situations and what other questions and concerns and viewpoints that they have, and our conversations to try to remedy that. And those are those coaching calls that are included with the SOPs as well. So you'll get a nice little taste on what it's like to go through a coaching call, and help solidify your trust there. Check it out. So Patreon, Clunk Coach on Patreon. See here, RVNGIS says, Have you found more customers by word of mouth, advertising, or by contacting growers? That's a good question. I like that question. Um, Word of mouth and direct messaging. So I answer, like I said, almost every single DM. So if somebody's reaching out to me with a problem or a question or a concern, or just, I've gotten a lot of just like, hey, thank you, I love what you're doing, you're spot on, or you made me rethink things, like just appreciation. I always respond to everything. So a lot of those have converted. But that's one-on-one conversion there. Advertising, Instagram let me do a little bit of advertising, and so just like spreads like 3 posts. They got more views. That's about it. But I haven't really done much advertising at all, really. And contacting growers was initially how I started, trying to spread the word of Clone Coach and my SOPs and me on the path of trying to help cultivators make the best clones ever. So I would reach out to growers and send them a DM and say, hey, for free, please try, review, think. Just like brands try to send me products now, like, hey, try my product out and make some content about it or whatever. I was just like, here, try my SOPs and, you'll see the difference. But that was tough. A lot of people didn't want the free product to try out. Like it was a weird kind of psychology, game happening, right? I was trying to give it away for free and very, very little traction, right? And then I just started, not trying to give it away for free and just trying to make more content and, more reach that way. And then, people started buying it, like kind of silently. Some of these bigger growers as well kind of turned back around and picked it up on their own and paid and purchased it, and ran it. And then they would come back without saying anything. Then they would come back and say, oh, yeah, I grabbed it. I loved it. It changed my clone game. Not everybody would say that publicly, but there's a good amount of big brands out there that are running the Clone Coach tech right now. And that's, if they don't want to say it or whatever, that's that's their thing, right? And that's fine. But we know that I know that I'm helping another nursery, whether it's their nursery or yours, right? But slowly enough, it started to get some traction, and then the results started coming in, and that's when it really like, okay, this guy, he's not full of shit. Like I'm getting better results. Like I have less dampening off. I have perkier plants. I have wider roots. I have a healthier clone. All these things started like the results were there. So that is what was kind of the fire. In addition to that, me really trying to hit content and just stay on it and have that niche of like, nobody else is out there talking about, how to make the best clones ever. And it's all I know. It's all I've focused on. So I just fed into that, and enough traction allowed me to make the decision to leave the nursery that I was managing, this nice big greenhouse nursery, the veg department that I was managing. I replaced my salary 1 month, replaced my salary the second month, and by then I was like, I'm jumping, let's go, and left them and said I'm going to help a lot more nurseries, a lot more gardens, and not just this one. So that's when it really is switched, and and that's the word of mouth right now, where more people are joining and finding out. So and they reach out in the DM as I encourage, and then I hear what their problem is. I try to give it some solutions, try to give some viewpoints, and ask some questions. But if they're ripe for the SOPs, I'll recommend it to them, and give them a discount code and say, look, this is what kind of productions are you doing and stuff. Like this is right up your alley. Check this out. Get all your questions answered. Once again, it comes with a PDF, a training video, and the coaching call. So get 80 to 90% there with those 2 items, and the coaching call takes you to 100% results. I'm, really have nothing to lose, only a lot to gain with this knowledge here. Good question there. I wish I could pronounce your handle right. RVNGIS. Rungus? I don't know. Butchering it. Good question. Let's see here. Hey, Clunk Coach, do you ever swap out the mother for the cut? NY Autoflowers says, do you ever swap out the mother for the cut? Like, take a clone from that mother plant and rotate it again as a new mother plant? If that's what you're saying, then yeah, I've done that. Do that. Let's see here. If you're just joining, Clunk Questions Live, episode 10 with me, Clunk Coach. Let me know where you're joining in from here in the chat. Making my way through these questions here. Small nursery business. We're gonna wrap it up talking about the small nursery business. I love it. Like I just like, where do I start? Because it changed my life, man. I mean, let's start with the little story. 2014 or so. I finally had a place where I could, build a room and grow a crop, which was this room, this office that I'm in now. I converted this room, I gutted it and converted it, built it out to a little nursery. I hung up the lights, did the AC, got the shelf going, had the whole back row was all my plants, had 3 little 400-watt lights. Understood the electrical, amperage. I did the testing, so I wasn't blowing any breakers, or, that's why I had 1200 watts there, because my 15 amp breaker could handle it. Had it all set up, and I was trying to find clones to run a crop, and I got stuck. I couldn't find a good batch of clones. So I ended up sourcing clones, and one of the first genetics I had were seeds that I bought in high school. I ordered online from Europe, had this batch of Wonder Woman seeds. Before I could grow, a friend of mine could. They needed seeds, they needed plants. I gave them the seeds. They grew them out. They've been running it. By the time I was ready to go, I needed clones. They had these phenos of those seeds that I gave them. I took my first set of clones off of there ever. Took them, I rooted them. That was my initial mom stock. And then my first tray of clones, I want to say I plugged 50 and I had 40 that survived, 40 that were ready to go, and I took them down to my local dispensary, back when you could do that. I took my tray of clones down to my local dispensary, said I was a vendor, took a while. They had me wait in the lobby with my box of clones. By the time I got up there, their first reaction was a pretty decent, oh, shit, you have clones. And when they saw them, they're like, oh, these aren't half bad. They're pretty good fucking clones. They weren't my best. Still far from being the best, but they were still pretty good clones, and that helped the motivation there. And then we started haggling price, and they were normally paying $3 or $4 a clone. But once again, the quality of clone that people were used to was so low that they were paying $3 or $4 a clone. That's what they were used to. And I wanted, was it 6 or 7? They're like, nah, dude, first time vendor, we usually pay 3 or 4. I gotta get approval, blah 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 blah. Went back and forth. We settled on 5. I was like, 5, I'll take it. First time deal, but I'll be back. I'm gonna keep bringing you back. Do you want more clones? I'm like, absolutely. We can't have enough clones. Bring the next trays in. And so we started the deals at 5, and that was 40 clones at $5, made $200, walked out, and I was like, I didn't look back. I was like, that's it. Time to replace my salary with this little spare bedroom and start making as many clones as I can. And this little room, man, how many was I doing? I was probably doing 2, 4, about 400 to 500 clones every 2 weeks. So about 1,000 clones a month was my first nursery. And, out of one bedroom with enough space, it was just that back wall. This was all working space in the middle. The wall here to my left had my shelf, my cloning rack. And, that was it. So there was more space. I could have really maxed it out some more, but I didn't have the power for it. But dude, if you guys grab the Mother Plant SOP and the Best Clones Ever SOP on my website, that packages up everything you need to do to have the best plants ever to make a little nursery business. And think about it. Those were $5 clones that eventually ended up, at a higher price point throughout my career. But that's in California where clones are abundant, and wherever your market is, who knows what that market demands as far as a clone goes. Could be 10, could be 15, could be 20, 25. Depends on the quantity. I always did, try to do hundreds of clones and move all the clones at once. But if you break them down even more so, they're $20, $25 bills. What will 1,000 clones extra a month do for you? 1,000 extra clones a month. What would that do for you? At whatever price point. Even half of that. That's why I packaged up both of the SOPs. And this third piece that I'm working on now is the economics of it, the business of it, the cost of goods, the revenue per square foot, the cash flow of it, the expenses, the build out, the simple economics of it's scalable as well. So it could be referring to a spare bedroom just as well as 1,000 square feet, just as well as 10,000 square feet. It scales really. And there's obviously different nuances once you scale up. That's where that extra coaching comes into play. But I'm really going to be building out this third leg here. I'm going to package it all up to include the kind of business economics version of a nursery, the mother plants, and the SOPs. So you have the whole complete package to do whatever you want with. Use that knowledge however you see fit. Turn a spare bedroom or a closet or a garage or a warehouse, however you see fit. But just know that this knowledge will pay itself back in dividends over and over again. So that's, small nursery businessman changed my life and allowed me to make and sell clones for years. And I was making clones for other people, managing nurseries, selling clones for other nurseries, brokering clones for commercial nurseries, consulting, and now leading me to the digital age, right, where I really wanted to have something that's scalable as well, to help as many nurseries as possible, is the clone coach endeavor that I'm on now. So that's, packaging up everything digitally and helping as many people as I can remotely, some on-site coaching as well. I have that option on my website as well. But that's where I'm at right now, to help as many people as possible make the best clones ever. So let's see here. But that was just a little once over on the small nursery business, and a kind of, peeking into what's going to come in the future as far as SOPs go. Let's see here. Morning Dew Canna says, hey, Clone Coach. Just wondering why my outer clones are dying. On your clone SOP, and my clones are crushing. I understood the last part. Clones are crushing with the SOP. But wondering why your outer clones are dying. If the edges, the clones on the edge, or any particular side of a tray or a dome are dying, it's going to be due to like an external factor. It's probably the plastic, the dome, and the tray aren't perfectly sealed for whatever reason. There's a crack, there's a seam, there's a little opening, so it dries out faster on that edge there. Or there's like a fan or a light, something that's drying out that side of the wall. Especially if it's happening early on, that lack of humidity is going to show itself and wither out, a little stem, a little clone pretty quick. So check for your plastic. If you have mismatched plastic and domes, that usually is the reason why there's a gap or anything like that. Even some debris. Just take a look at what's happening. But that happening on the edges there, your clone's dying on the edge, is usually because a break in the seal of that clone and tray, dome tray and clone dome. Yeah, good question. Let's see here. Morning Dew, that was your question. Upstate Caniculture just smoking and stopping by to say, hey, what's going on, Upstate Caniculture? Creekside Farm says, I just ate a piece of candy off my floor. Let's see here. Scrolling through the chat, getting to the end here. We're going to go through the numbers and see who our winner is for this episode. Whoever's going to win the Best Mother Plants Ever, free copy of the Best Mother Plants Ever SOP. Get your mother plants right. And when you're ready to take some clones, grab that Best Clones Ever SOP on clunkcoach.com. Let's see here. Clunk Coach for the win. Thank you, Deaners17. They got that on Affirm payments. Just joking. We got Brazil in the house. Nice. All right, guys. Well, that was a pretty good episode of Clunk Questions Live, I would say. We hit on the nursery business. Hit on water on the bottom of the trays. We hit on re-vegging. We didn't touch on wash, rinse, sanitize. But it's simple. Wash away the dirt, grime with the detergent first, rinse it with fresh water, and sanitize last. You can't sanitize a dirty surface, so clean your surfaces first. This goes for all tools, plastic, floors, any kind of hard surface, any kind of surface that you're cleaning that you got to sanitize. Wash it first, rinse it, and then sanitize. Let's see here. Real Talk French Bull says, what's the longest you recommend keeping a mother in a 5-gallon fabric pot before switching it out with a fresh one? If it's fabric, you know, there's really not a reason to switch it out unless it's overgrown. So as far as like time goes, I don't know, 5-6 months. I mean, but why would you switch out a 5 for a 5 and not transplant it, you know? So dogs doing their job. All right. Let's get to our winner. If you're just joining, let us know where you're joining in from. And you're like, what's going on? We just went through the whole episode right now. Answered a nice set of topics and questions. But we're going to pick a number between 1 and 420 with a random number generator. See here, random number generator, and give away a free copy of my Best Mother Plants Ever SOP from clonecoach.com. Let's see here. So I'm going to scroll up from the chat. So I need you to stop entering your guesses now so I can generate this number and start scrolling up the chat to find our winner and or winners. Closest without going over. Closest without going over. Number between 1 and 420. Got a 5-second countdown to enter your guesses. We got 5, 4. Jointly now. 3, 2, 1. No more guesses. All right. God damn it. I said no more guesses. No more guesses. No more guesses. These aren't going to count, man. I'm going up from here. That's it. Unless there's a delay, and that's why I'm getting all the guesses right now. But we got to stop. We got to stop, guys. Here we go. 1 to 420. Our winning number is 303. 303. Going up to see who got closest. Who got closest without going over. 303 is our winning number. Let's see here. 303 without going over. We got 20, 78, 94. Nope. 223. Nope. 420s. All your 420s lost. Let's see here. 303 is a winning number. Scrolling through this chat here, 365, 419, 7, 312, 273, nope, 9, nope. Let's see here, 303 is our winning number. Scrolling through this chat, scrolling up through the chat. So if you're entering your guesses now, you're too late. I'm scrolling up. Let's see here. 303 is our winning number. Come on, guys. Who's going to get closest without going over? Closest without going over. We got 280. I mean, is 280 going to do it? 303 is our winning number. Trying to find who went closest without going over. 36, 317, 214. I saw 280. 303, no, 333, 222, 121, 280, 197, 77, 240, no. Who got closest to 303 without going over? 196, 13. Come on, come on. I saw 280. Is that really the closest one? Nobody guessed like 300 or something? 299. We got Chicago in the house. Desert Hot Springs in the house. Detroit. I'm getting close to the top here, guys. Wow. 13, 389. Okay, I'm at the top. All right, I'm going back down. 303 was our winning number. Who got closest without going over? I saw 280, but is that really the closest? It might be 166, 196, 282. 282 is closer. That's Coger 24/7 with 282. Winning number is 303. We got 282 in the lead. 240, 117, 280. 282 is in the lead right now. 383. Closest without going over to 303. 204. 282 is in the lead for this episode 10 of Clone Questions Live. Let's see here. Scrolling through the chat. 280. Was that another 280? Yep. There would have been two winners if the winning number was 280. 312. No. Looks like 282. I'm going through 333, 363, 220, 396. Let's see here. I'm getting back down to the bottom. Getting back down to the bottom. 82, 78, 328. Oh. I think we got our winner, guys. Yep. 243, 330. I'm double checking. I'm trying to be careful. No, the winning number was 303, guys. So 283 won it. 283 won it. Nice. Yeah, we had I thought 280 was closest, but we had one person guess 282, which I'm gonna scroll back up. Looks like Coger 24/7. Coger 24/7 with the winning guess of 282 is going to win a free copy of the best mother plants ever, SOP, from clonecoach.com. I'm just double checking. I mean, I write down their handle, but I'm just double checking. All right. Hell yeah. Dropout grows. Ha! Maybe on episode 1 of a giveaway that would have worked. Not anymore, my friend. Not anymore. Yep, Coger, 24/7, 282 with the winning guess. I'm going to shoot you a DM. Keep a lookout for it. I'm shoot your discount code to get you a free copy of the best mother plants ever, SOP, on clonecoach.com. And for everybody else that's not part of the team yet, go to clonecoach.com and subscribe to the emails. You'll get a free mini guide in addition to a lot more content, a lot more content, free content to absorb and learn some more through, and join the team that way for free. Kaden Velasco, man, if you got a screenshot, I mean, I don't know, but Terp Thirsty, will you do a sell on 420? Great question, Terp Thirsty. For that question, shoot me a DM. I'm gonna give you a discount for that question. What should I do for 420? I mean, yes, the answer is yes, right? What the promotion's gonna be? I mean, it has to be something really good. Like 50% off, buy one get one free. You know, I think that'd be the best way to go. Buy one get one free. You get both the SOPs for the price of one. I think that's money right there. But Terp Thirsty, send me a discount. Send me a DM. I'm sorry, and you'll get the first buy one get one free discount code, just for that question. I appreciate that. Coacher, thanks, Clunk Coach. Absolutely. Thanks for playing. Thanks for joining. Thanks for playing. Thanks for joining this episode of Clunk Questions Live. It was a fun one. Yeah, that was good. Coacher 24/7. I'm gonna shoot you a DM. Everybody else, if you're ready for step-by-step guidance and step-by-step instructions and expert guidance to make the best clones ever, head on over to clunkcoach.com and check out the SOPs. And that's going to do it for me on this episode of Clunk Questions Live. Thanks, everybody. Have a good night. Let's see here. Stop.